Welcome to News Around, the channel where we dive beyond the surface of celebrity stories to uncover the emotions, strategies, and hidden connections that shape the lives of the stars we admire. If you love Turkish drama both on and off screen, make sure to subscribe, tap the notification bell, and don't forget to join our community by clicking the join button to support us directly. Today, we're stepping into a story that has quietly fascinated millions, a story not about spectacle or scandal, but about emotional intelligence, maturity, and a love that refuses to fade completely. For months, fans of Sıla Türkoğlu and Halil İbrahim Ceyhan believed the fairytale had ended. The once radiant on-screen duo, whose chemistry captivated audiences across the world, appeared to have gone their separate ways for good. There were no public arguments, no emotional statements, just silence, a silence that, for many, spoke louder than any confession could. People had begun to accept that what once was now a closed chapter in Turkish entertainment history. Yet, as every great story teaches us, endings are often just disguised beginnings. Recently, something began to shift, subtly, quietly, like the first faint note of a forgotten song. A series of delicate gestures, almost imperceptible at first, started to reignite speculation. Had Sıla Türkoğlu found her way back into Halil's heart? The answer, it seems, lies not in words or social media declarations, but in the quiet art of emotional intelligence and timing. Sıla didn't storm back into Halil's world with bold proclamations or grand reconciliations. Instead, she chose the opposite, restraint. In a time when most celebrities would use interviews, photos, or viral moments to hint at a reunion, she disappeared into grace. Her approach was methodical, patient, and deeply personal. She stopped framing their past as something broken, and began referring to it as something beautifully lived. Rather than lamenting what had gone wrong, she expressed gratitude for what they had shared. Rather than chasing public attention, she allowed time and dignity to become her allies. People close to Halil began noticing subtle changes. The mere mention of Sıla no longer triggered discomfort. Instead, there was curiosity, even warmth. The absence of tension, replaced by respect, began to soften old emotional boundaries. What once had been a fragile connection, strained by misunderstanding and ego, slowly began to transform into something wiser. In the world of fame, where every interaction is monitored, Sıla managed to stay present without being invasive. She didn't crowd Halil's personal space, she touched his emotional one. She began to subtly re-engage through admiration and shared memories, often through indirect gestures, resharing an old interview where he had spoken fondly of their time working together, or reacting to moments when fans nostalgically recalled their on-screen partnership. She didn't need to say, "Remember me?" Her actions whispered it. This was not manipulation, it was understanding. She knew that Halil, a man known for his depth and emotional sensitivity, would respond not to grand gestures but to quiet sincerity. He's not the kind of person who's easily swayed by public displays of affection. He's moved by loyalty, consistency, and emotional authenticity. And Sıla knew exactly how to reach that part of him again. The emotional key to their silent reconciliation lay in memory, not nostalgia for the sake of comfort, but memory as a mirror of growth. Sıla began subtly bringing back moments only they shared, snippets of behind-the-scenes laughter, heartfelt interviews, or small anecdotes that could only mean something to the two of them. She reintroduced warmth into their history without reopening old wounds. Every mention wasn't a plea for the past, but a recognition of what they had overcome. This approach didn't just move Halil, it disarmed him. It reminded him of something profound, that no one had ever understood his journey the way Sıla had. She had been there through his struggles, his doubts, his evolution as both an actor and a man. Their connection wasn't just romantic, it was built on shared artistic passion and emotional resilience. And as the memories resurfaced, so did something else: admiration. Their renewed bond didn't bloom in front of cameras or tabloids. It grew in silence, like a private garden shielded from noise. There were no paparazzi photos of candlelit dinners, no calculated leaks to the press. Instead, there were quiet messages exchanged on meaningful dates, subtle signs of emotional support, and a mutual understanding that didn't require validation. Sıla never demanded explanations for what went wrong, and Halil never sought apologies. They simply began to exist near each other again, this time, not as two people defined by a past relationship, but as two individuals who had grown enough to respect what they once shared. This was not about rekindling a flame out of loneliness. It was about recognizing that real connection doesn't disappear, it only transforms. In most breakups, pride becomes the invisible wall between two hearts that might still care for each other. But this story broke that pattern. That simple, unspoken agreement to choose empathy over ego became the foundation for everything that followed. For months, fans were divided. Some were hopeful romantics, clinging to every possible clue. Others were skeptical, convinced that what once burned so brightly had turned to ash. But slowly, as subtle signs emerged, a smile here, a kind comment there, the audience began to shift. They no longer demanded an official confirmation. They understood that some bonds don't need labels or announcements. They simply are. And that is perhaps the most mature stage of love, when it no longer needs validation to exist. Fans now speak of Sıla and Halil not as exes or former co-stars, but as two souls whose connection transcends definitions. If there's one lesson to be drawn from their story, it's that second chances aren't about recreating what once was. They're about honoring it while building something new. Sıla and Halil are not trying to replay their past. They aren't clinging to old roles or trying to mimic a lost spark. Instead, they're writing a new chapter based on mutual respect, calmness, and emotional coherence. They no longer promise each other forever, they offer something far more meaningful: presence. And in a world obsessed with spectacle and perfection, this quiet, grown-up version of love feels revolutionary. The calm before the storm. For now, both stars remain discreet. They share no overt gestures, no open admissions. But insiders and close observers agree the tension has shifted. One public gesture, one shared project, or one affectionate glance could send the entire internet into a frenzy. And when that moment comes, it won't just be a tabloid headline, it will be a cultural event. Because, for many fans, this story represents more than celebrity romance, it symbolizes hope. The hope that love, even after silence, can find its way back when both hearts have learned to listen again. If you've been following Sıla Türkoğlu and Halil İbrahim Ceyhan since their first collaboration, what do you think about this silent reconnect ion? Do you believe in second chances in love, or do you think some stories are better left in the past? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed diving deep into this emotional chapter. Share which other Turkish stars you'd like to see us cover next. Your suggestion might be the focus of our next deep dive. And remember, to stay updated on the most heartfelt stories in the world of Turkish celebrities, subscribe to News Around, tap the bell icon for alerts, and if you want to support us even more, click join to become a part of our inner circle. Because here on News Around, we don't just report stories, we feel them.